Hi, I'm Rashonda. I'm the creator of this YouTube channel as well as artbyroad.com, which is our website that has over 200 art and drawing tutorials. So if that's something you might be interested in, go ahead and check that out. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how I drew a zombie bunny. This was a lot of fun to do. I did mine on an artist trading card, which if you're not familiar with what those are, check out the description box. There's a link in there to our freebie that will teach you everything you need to know about them. And I like them. I love all the benefits there are to doing them and using them for my artwork. So if you're new to artist trading cards, are also known as ATCs, or if you've never heard of them before, go ahead and check that link out so you can learn. And now we're going to go ahead and go on over to the art studio and get started on the tutorial. Today I'm going to be making a zombie bunny. These types of drawings are really fun to do. I'm doing mine on an artist trading card. If you're not familiar with what those are, check out the description box. There's a link in there to the beginner's guide to artist trading cards. It'll show you how to cut out your own. Also explain what they are, a little bit of information. But you can do yours on any type of paper, on a sketchbook, or whatever you want to do. So we're going to start with basic shapes because that's really the easiest way to begin your drawings, because it gets you going so you're not staring at that blank piece of paper, and it gives you an idea of overall what your drawing is going to look like. So I'm going to start with just a rough circle for the head, and then another circle a little bit smaller for the body. So right now I can see how big my drawing's going to be overall. I can see what it's going to look like overall. That way if I need to make any changes, I can do that now if I need to. So now we can add in the ears. Now, of course, there's a lot of different ways you can draw your bunny. You can have one ear flopping down. You can have both ears flopping down. You can have them, since it's a zombie, you can have them kind of tattered and torn and damaged. So many different ways you can do it. And that's one of the reasons why I really like doing the artist trading cards, because they're so much quicker. You could do a series of drawing, do a bunch of different drawings, and then see what works, what doesn't work, what you like, what you don't like. There's so many different things you could try doing. So now that we have things kind of laid out, we can start adding in some details. So I'm just going to draw the arms. I don't care too much about having a lot of detail in the arms. They just need to be there. But I'm not overly concerned with adding a bunch of detail to them. Now you could do yours differently. You could add the detail to them. You could focus more on what the arms look like, how they're posed, what they're doing. But I'm not going to worry too much about the arms or the legs. I'm just going to put some little indication of legs down there. I don't care too much about the body. But if I did another one of these, then I maybe would do the body differently, add more detail, and see what that looks like. So, and usually I do try to do a series of drawings if I have time, depending on what my schedule's like and what things are looking like time-wise in my life. So you could also do some lines to just to keep things symmetrical, so you can see where everything's at. I can start adding in a little bit more detail to the ears. Again, I don't care too much about having a lot of detail for the ears. We want them to look like ears, but they're not the focal point of the drawing. So now we can draw the nose. Now, when you're drawing any of the elements, whether it's the body, the face, the nose, the mouth, the ears, whatever it is, since this is going to be a zombie drawing, you need to decide what parts are going to be like good parts and which parts are going to be dead parts. And you can do that a lot of different ways. We can do a button for the eye. We can do stitching for the eyes. The same thing with the mouth. We can do, a lot of times you'll see the zombies where one eye is bigger than the other. A lot of different things we can do with this. I do think I want for the mouth to just have stitching. And then maybe we'll go ahead and do that for this eye as well. And you could do both eyes if you want. Both eyes could have stitching in it. So we'll kind of clean it up as we go along. So now we can put that little patch in the belly if we want. Again, that's optional. We don't need to do that, but we can. And we could do something on the face where maybe we have some stitching coming across here. It's really up to you how much of this you want to add in there. Maybe we'll do one down here across the body. And it's just a line to where the tear is, and then just lines going across for the stitching. Maybe we'll add some little paws there. So that's pretty much it for the drawing. Like I said, there's a lot of different ways you can do this. You can clean your drawing up a little bit as you go if you feel like you need to do that. But that's it for this guy. And then the next thing we need to do is put an outline on it before we can add some color. I like to do my outlines with these black Sharpie pens. This is usually what I use. This is a medium point. And these pens are different than the markers. The markers you're probably used to seeing that they're white with the black cap on it. These are a lot nicer than what the Sharpie markers are. They make a nice, crisp, clean line. So for the outline, we're literally just going to trace over all the pencil lines that we're keeping. So if you feel like you need to clean it up a little bit and get rid of some of the extra lines, you can do that. It's not really necessary to do it, but if you feel like it makes it a little bit confusing, then you might want to do that. Also for the ears, you can draw the line going between the ear and the head, or you can erase that and leave that area open. Again, that choice is up to you, which way you think will look better. So I think I'm going to go ahead and speed this up and put an outline on there. And then after I do my outline, I'm going to use this block eraser and erase all the pencil lines, and then it'll be ready to add some color to it. So now that the outline's done, we can go ahead and start coloring in the drawing. I'm going to use pink for the nose. I'm going to do a lighter pink, and then a little bit darker pink, and then I want to blend those together right where they meet. And then I'm going to use kind of a bluish gray color for the body. So I have a lighter marker and a darker marker. You don't have to do it this way. This marker's kind of running out. If your markers start to run out, you can try flipping them and using the larger end of the marker. You can usually get a little bit more life out of them before you have to swap it out for a fresh marker. So what I like to do is use my lighter color first, fill that whole area in, and then I can use the darker marker over top to put some variation in there, so it's not just, I don't want my drawings to look flat. And I think I'll put the darker inside the ear. Now for inside the ears, you could make it pink. You could leave it just the lighter marker. And then what I do is I go back over the edges with the lighter marker and blend those in. So you can also use the colorless blenders that are available. They usually come in the sets of markers. But by using 2 or 3 different markers, your drawings won't look as flat. It's an easy way to make them look a little bit nicer, a little more interesting. And when I do the darker parts, I'm not worried about like a light source, what direction my light's coming from or anything like that. Since we're not drawing realistic type drawings. Fortunately, there's no such thing as zombie bunnies in real life, so we don't have to worry about making them look natural and realistic. So I just pick areas where I think could use a little bit darker, some variation, break up the big areas. Sometimes you can try to do them around the eyes and nose, or you can leave the eyes and nose as is. Again, there's a lot of different options. Art is really just about experimenting, trying different things, coming up with your own style. And your style is going to be determined by what you think looks good and what doesn't look good. Like I said, I typically color my drawings this way, at least currently. I've been doing it this way for a while, and that might change at some point. But that's just part of my artistic style at the moment. And yours could be different. You might not like adding the darker colors in there, so you might want to do yours different. You might like the flat colors. So you should really do whatever you think looks right, whatever feels right to you for your artwork. And of course, you don't have to use markers. You could use colored pencils, or you could do paint or pastels, or whatever medium you prefer. And then the other thing is, to finish it up, would be a background. We would need to decide what kind of background we want on this. I typically don't draw real detailed backgrounds, mostly because I don't really have the time to spend on them. And also because sometimes if you add a really detailed background, it kind of takes away from the main focus, which is the bunny. And it can take the focus off of the main character of the drawing and make it look a little like too busy, I guess you could say. Sometimes I just go around the inside edges with the darker color. Again, you should do whatever you think looks right, feels right to you. Sometimes for the background, I'll just add a color around the edges, just so it's not plain white. Sometimes I'll do a galaxy background. Those are fun. Sometimes I'll just color it in with maybe a couple different colors. Kind of blend the colors together and fade them out. There's a lot of different options for how to do the backgrounds. So that's pretty much it for the color. Now, one thing we can do is add white, and I like using this white Jelly Roll pen. This goes over top of the marker really nicely once you get the ink flowing out of it. So oftentimes as it sits, the tip will kind of dry up, so you might have to scribble with it a little bit to get the white to start coming out. But the other thing with that is that you do want to wait until this is dry. And you can tell if it feels cold when you touch it, it'll feel cold when it's still wet. You can feel the marker on there. So you want that to evaporate before adding the white on top. If you don't, it'll just soak in, and we don't want that. So I think I might do, since the nose is the only thing pink, I think maybe what I'll do is we'll just add pink around the edges. I like this nice bright fuchsia kind of pink. I don't get to use it very often. Typically when I do this for the background where I just add color, I do prefer to use these really bright, almost neon looking colors. You could maybe fill it in all the way and see what it would look like, but I'll typically just do around the drawing and then sometimes around the edges. So I think for this one, I would probably do around the edges as well. Just because even with going around the edge here, there's still a lot of white, and I don't want that much white on my drawing. So what I'll do then is go right along the edges. And I'm not too worried about them being straight or even. I don't care too much if they're not perfect. They don't really need to be. I could leave that like that. Or I could go across the bottom as well, but I think I like that for the background. So that's pretty much it for this drawing. The only thing left to do is wait for this to dry, add some white in here. And typically what I'll do is, like, I might add some white on the nose. I could add a little bit of white on the stitching, just to break that up a little bit. Mostly what I'm doing is just breaking up the big areas of color. Nothing, I'm not thinking about where my light source is coming from or anything like that. But as you can see, that white's kind of disappearing a little bit. And that's because this paper's still wet from the alcohol, so it's just absorbing in instead of sitting on top. So if that happens, if you didn't wait long enough, all you have to do is go back over it a second time and it'll usually show up. So I think we're going to call this done. Just add a little bit more of the white. So that's it for this little zombie drawing. I made them a little bit on the cuter side. I wasn't going for anything real scary, but you could really amp up the scariness of it and the creepy, you know, really go into that zombie aspect of it. A lot of things you can do. Like I said, I really like doing the artist trading cards and doing a series of drawing, trying different things, seeing what works, what doesn't work, trying different styles with it. But that's it for today's video, and I will see you next time. Thanks for joining me, and happy creating. Well, that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for sticking around to the end. If you did like the video, please give us a like, and don't forget to subscribe if you want to get notified of future videos. And also, check out that description box. There's some useful information in there, and more about our website and some other tutorials that we have, as well as that artist trading card freebie. So don't forget to go there before you leave. And I will see you in the next video. Bye!